Hey boys and girls, we're in nonfiction, moving on to lesson 7. And we're going to look at text structure today. So as the texts get more complex, we can study and consider the structure of those texts and notice the overall structure and how chunks of text are built. So that sounds super confusing, doesn't it? So I want to take a look at this book. This is a book about mummies. The guy's kind of creepy looking in my opinion. But look at how there's these different chunks of text all over. So we have this topic up here, clues from the past, in this little introduction paragraph. And then there's all these different little paragraphs with these little subheadings that talk about these different pictures. Here's a caption to this picture down here. Like this text, these pages have a ton going on. Look, there's even more over here on this sidebar. Sidebar, that's a tricky word. That's something over here on the side. Teaches us more information. There's 3 different subheadings on there. So really we have to think about, how do we read these pages? We start at the top, we go from left to right, top to bottom, and we have to pick apart each of these little paragraphs, each of these little chunks, and think about how they fit together so that we can come up with a main idea or a topic, or what is the message they're sending us. So some nonfiction texts look like this. Not all, but some. Okay, so some authors write in complex ways, but they're without the boxes. It makes things less obvious. So here we have a page from behind When Lunch Fights Back. So this is the science behind the scene. Plants can't hide from predators. They can fly or run away. Even so, plants are far from defenseless. Black mustard plants use substances that make their leaves taste bad to most plant eaters, but cabbage white caterpillars actually like the taste of mustard leaves. So we're going to skip through. We aren't going to read this whole thing right now. I already showed you this when we're talking about the structure of text and how they get complex. And structure, struct, the root word means to build. So there we're tapping into that morphology again. And each chapter in How Lunch Fight Back is really in a predictable way. It's in 2 different parts. The first section tells us a story about the animal and its defenses. And it's a bit like a narrative, a little chunk of time in the animal's life. And then, so if we think about the innocent feeding hagfish is ruthlessly attacked, what's it going to do? Okay, and then the second part of the chapter is the science behind the story, and we're going to look at the structure of that here in a minute. But I'm going to give you a clue as to what we're looking at. We are going to look at these common nonfiction text structures. Is it chronological? And we've talked about these in class, so you've heard this before. Is this chronological? First, then, next, after. Problem, solution. A problem is, a solution is, if, then, so that. Cause and effect, because, since, reasons, then, therefore. Compare, contrast. Different, same, like, similar, although. So these transition words that are right here are clues for you to decide which text structure it is. And you might have to go back and forth a little bit in the video. So you can look at this chart again if you need to. So you're going to practice your fast forward rewind skills maybe. So let's look at this story, the science behind the story. And over here are listed those different structures. And as we go through, I want you to think about, I want you to read this, and I want you to think about, is there one common structure all the way through, or does it change? So I'm going to let you read this for a moment. You probably need to pause it, read it, see if you can come up with what text structure each paragraph or each chunk is. It might change within the paragraph. You pause it, you read it, do some thinking, and then play the video again once you've read it and tried to decide. Okay, boys and girls, hopefully you actually paused the video and did the reading and what I asked. So if we read through, we've divided it into chunks, and it says plants can hide from predators. They can't fly or run away. Even so, plants are far from defenseless. Black mustard plants produce substances that make their leaves taste bad to most eaters. So this top part is problem solution. Like, plants can't hide from predators. That's the problem. So what do? They protect themselves. It produces things that make the leaves taste bad. Problem solution. But then we have, but cabbage white caterpillars actually like the taste of mustard leaves. So when the cabbage white butterflies mount an egg-laying attack, mustard plants fight back by getting wasps to defend them. So now we have cause and effect. Because the cabbage white caterpillars like to eat these leaves, the effect is the wasps come and attack them. So now look at the rest of the passage. German biologist Nina Futuro studies black mustard plants and their wasp bodyguards, working with colleagues at Wageningen University in the Netherlands Institute of Ecology. Futuro carried out experiments to better understand how the defense system works. The scientists put 2 mustard plants in closed containers. One plant had just laid large cabbage white butterfly eggs on its leaves. The other plant was egg-free. The researchers then added a Y-shaped tunnel to their experimental setup. One arm of the Y led to the egg-free plant. The other arm led to the plant with the eggs. Periodically, the scientists released tiny wasps into the tunnel at the bottom of the Y. They recorded whether the wasps flew up one arm or the other, or stayed put. We tested 3 different time points. Now this is going chronological, first, then next. So see how chunking this, really taking time to go through and think about what's going on here. Problem, solution, cause, effect, chronological. We can really come up with different story structures. Now it goes on to this page, and I'll let you read. It goes chronological, cause, effect, compare, contrast. I would encourage you to pause the video, reread this, and think about, why is this section compare, contrast? Why is this section cause and effect? Find the cause, find the effect. What are they comparing down here? So pause the video, read that, and do some deep thinking in your head. Okay, boys and girls, I actually hope you paused. So here's things. This is a summary of what we have learned so far. In session 3, we talked about headings and subheadings are misleading, several main ideas, central ideas and main ideas are implicit or hidden. In session 5, we talked about the vocabulary being hard. We worked on morphology. Now in 7, there are many complex hybrid structures, meaning they use multiple structures within the same text, like the last one we looked at. Subtopics may be broken into multiple parts. Parts can shift in structure. Sentences are longer and may deliver more information. And the text is long and connections are separated by lots of text. So now, boys and girls, you're going to think about all this text structure stuff that we talked about today. You could go back and watch parts of the video if you're still confused. Re-watching, rereading, re-listening will help you. You might think about the challenges at part and whole text level, but you might also think about the kinds of text structure you see, compare, contrast, problem, solutions. All right, off you go. Be readers. Make me proud.